do we need to worry about changing up our probiotics so that we don't keep growing just one subset of bacteria?
Yeah, I don't think we have adequate research to accurately answer that question, but there's a few trends in the IBS. So looking at irritable bowel syndrome as one model to tell us how to intervene for optimal gut health. Some studies indicate that the higher the diversity of the probiotic, meaning the more strains, might actually equal a better outcome. So this is why we recommend what's known as triple therapy, where ideally, remember those 3 categories? We'll have someone take, let's say, 2 capsules from one bottle, 2 capsules from the other bottle, and 2 capsules from the third, just to have the broadest sort of support for the gut. I don't think that rotation matters. You can make an argument for that, but, and this is my inference, but from an immune perspective, I think consistency of stimuli tends to be beneficial. And part of this is taken from, again, this is inferential, but there's some data that if you grow up on a farm, you have less allergy. But if you just visit a farm, that can flare your allergies because the immune system tends to calibrate to what's present in the environment in an ongoing basis.
Okay.
So with that constant exposure, the immune system can kind of attune. But if it's just episodic exposure, then that may be more prone to lead the immune system to react. Again, that's an inference, but this is why we favor more of a broad spectrum probiotic used continually. And then this is the other kind of, I think, important time point piece. Once someone has plateaued, meaning they've improved, plateaued, and they're stable for about 2 months, then we try to wean them off or find the minimal effective dose.
Yeah, because so the idea is not to be on it forever.
The idea is to not be on anything forever unless you've qualified. Again, your body's boss, right? So I use a probiotic most of the time, and I can't say I notice a lot when I go off of them. But what I had noticed was if I go out for a dinner, have some wine, and kind of say whatever with the food, that's when I'll notice, bowels may not be as great. So little things, right? Nothing major, but through some experimentation, I noticed, okay, I'm going to do a probiotic, maybe most days. If I travel, I don't worry about it. I take breaks periodically. I'm not obsessive about it. But what I noticed was the probiotics were really helpful at first, and they give me a little bit of an edge sort of in the long term. I wouldn't say they're needed, but they help keep me from kind of not being an average, and I feel like my GI functioning at optimal. But the goal is to be minimalistic because, and I'm positive you see this, what we call supplement creep, just all these supplements from every blog you read and video you watch, and all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, we have to periodically go through and try to weed out things that we no longer need because over-supplementation is a serious problem.
Yeah, I would agree. And I actually believe in supplement cycling because otherwise, ultimately you want your lifestyle to do everything. And so you cycle in with certain supplements, you cycle out. But I would agree. The goal is not to just move everybody from medicine to supplements. Really, we want to create some lifestyle changes, which leads me to wonder if we look at something like sauerkraut or raw kefir, how does that compare to a probiotic?
The doses in something like sauerkraut, kombucha, kimchi, they're quite a bit lower than what you'll see in a probiotic. You'll get anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 of 1 capsule of a probiotic is what you'll find in something like sauerkraut, kimchi. So it's something, and it's good, and it's something from a dietary perspective I'd recommend on an ongoing basis, but it may not be enough if someone has an active GI issue. It may not be enough to fully kind of get them over that hump alone. And to your other point, I do agree with supplement cycling kind of once we've gotten through the clinical woods. I wouldn't say like while we're trying to troubleshoot someone's GI, we try to say if it's working, let's like keep it going. But then when we're on the back end, that's when I think you make more of a case, and especially for something like a B complex vitamin or something like that as a hedge, that's when I really agree with you. And I like the concept of just periodically going on a bottle.
Yeah. I've just found the body's always adapting. So you're just continually kind of surprising it and keeping it fresh and moving in a growth phase. So something that's really been deep on my mind is last summer, there was some studies that came out that said SSRIs were not considered to be the end all be all that we originally thought they were. And that depression wasn't necessarily equated to low serotonin. Where does the microbiome fit into that? Because the problem I think we have with studies like that is it's just all in isolation. Like it might be that maybe somebody's microbiome is making more serotonin, and so they do an SSRI and it doesn't really help, and somebody else's microbiome is not making enough serotonin, and the SSRI is going to really bring that up.
So much to say here. It was a meta-analysis. A meta-analysis is a summary of clinical trials, right? So there might be a few hundred clinical trials. They can be summarized in a meta-analysis. In this case, there's so many datum on SSRIs. The meta-analyses, there were so many of those, they were summarized in an umbrella meta-analysis. So it's an incredibly helpful type of study, an extremely good way of getting a purview of what the science says. But it wasn't answering the question, are SSRI or similar medications was effective. It was looking at, is there a correlation between serotonin levels and depression? These are two different questions, right?
Yes.
We say on the one, depressed people, let's measure you. What's going on? That's one. That's what this study did. Another type of data would be, okay, depressed people, let's give you medications and see what happens. That's not what this study did. So this study, great data, but it did not disprove the medications have any merit. It did find that there was no correlation between serotonin levels and depression.
Okay.
Now, when we were reviewing the study, we also wanted to say, well, let's be fair. I mean, even though I'm not someone who is a big advocate for drug therapy, I also try to be objective. And if the therapy works, then people should know about it. And what do you know? The meta-analyses looking at interventional trials with SSRIs or SNRIs find benefit. So we should just report that, like, there it is, period.
It could help.
Now, yeah, they could help. Now, again, would I recommend that as an initial therapy? No. But might there be someone who's in a really tough place and for whom they need a win? Yes, right? So I think it's really important to report in these data objectively. And then coming back to kind of in a hierarchy, or there is one meta-analysis that found probiotics can improve depression, and also a similar meta-analysis finding that probiotics can improve anxiety. In that video breakdown that we did, we compared the effect of sauna therapy to drug therapy on what's known as the Hamilton Depression Index. And drug therapy led to a 2-point reduction, and sauna therapy led to a 4 to 6 point reduction. So that's pretty. Now, I should be careful to say the drug study was a meta-analysis and the sauna study was one small clinical trial. So it's not exactly an apple to apple, but it was just to impress upon the viewer that there are many methods that can improve your depression. Exercise would be another, right? So yeah, I would definitely say that the diet, lifestyle, and gut health foundations play a big role in depression. And within that, the lifestyle piece would be exercise and sauna. And then absolutely, if those things don't land fully, hormone support can be really helpful for mood. As I know you know very, very well, especially for women, but also in men. If there's low mood, then hormones can be really helpful. And the hormones do impact the neurotransmitters, but maybe that's not the mechanism, right? Maybe it's something else that the hormones are doing that's improving mood, but there does seem to be a connection. But yeah, so sorry for the diatribe.
I love it.